What's up, everybody? Welcome to Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. Tonight, this court is the only place where truth, power, and culture go head to head under the spotlight. Tonight's episode isn't just explosive, it's necessary. Now, listen, we live in a world where fame too often shields people from consequences. We know that to be true, where platforms meant to empower end up silencing, and where image management replaces what I call accountability. But here, guess what? Here in Celebrity Court of Public Opinion, we confront the chaos with clarity. This isn't a gossip column. This is cultural commentary sharpened by legal precision, thanks to our legal beagles. And tonight, we aren't just breaking stories, we're cracking open those difficult conversations that the media just doesn't want to have. From a $1 billion reality show scandal to an international arrest that could end a superstar's career, this courtroom right here has no filter. And guess what, everybody? It's my birthday tomorrow, and I can't think of a better way to celebrate than to challenge celebrity privilege, uplift victim voices, and shake that table with our signature cocktail of scandal and insight. And when I say cocktail, I got my cocktail right here. So you should probably get yours. Buckle up. Court is now in session. Let me introduce our legal beagles that are joining us tonight. First up is that fiery civil attorney, Shatan Turner. Shatan, get in there, get in here in celebrity court. All right, did Shatan Turner fall off? Hello? Rashad? All right. Shatan Turner? All right, let's go on. All right, joining us also is the author of Shit They Never Taught You in Law School, Jason Weiss. Jason Weiss, get in here in celebrity court.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I just want to wish you the happiest 39th birthdays that you can have, Your Honor. Looking good for 39.
It's my 40th, brother. What you talking about? It's my 40th after this cocktail.
Yep.
Joining me. All right, humorous at law. We love us some Sean Carter. Sean Carter, get in here in celebrity court.
I'm in. All right, good. Hey, everybody. Happy to be here. Not as happy as the judge is going to be tomorrow night, but I'm pretty good.
Shatan is frozen, everybody. We're going to have Shatan join us shortly. But Miss Counselor Turner is definitely here. All right, everybody, hit that like button because it's my birthday. Also, hit that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, be sure to hit the share button and invite some folks over to learn about the law on the back of these celebrities who keep messing up with the law. Don't forget to turn on your notifications. And as always, we love it when you jump down in the comments. And let's see who's here tonight. Danielle Cameron, welcome back. SL, thank you for the birthday wishes. Danielle Cameron, welcome back. Jessica Brooks, KS, Just Lee, Renee Sands, welcome back. Deliria Washington, welcome back. Lathea Robinson Smith, welcome back. Afra Singh, so good to see you in here. Who else is in here that I did not acknowledge? Pamela Monroe, welcome back. SL, welcome back. And Christine R. Okay, Christine, you being nice tonight. I won't put you out. Thank you, Sir Benjamin. Welcome back. Thank you all for the birthday wishes. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to buy some time. Danielle Cameron, I miss y'all. I might have to sell some Tussie to stop missing court. Hey, we got to do what we got to do. She got us all tightening our belts and doing a little strange for some change. In fact, I might have to do some strange for some change for my birthday party tomorrow night. Val Rice, thank you so much. Welcome back. All right, everybody. I was trying to wait for Attorney Turner, but let's just keep it moving. All right, first up, this right here has us all puzzled. Tonight, we open with a double shot of controversy brewed straight from the Housewives of Atlanta universe. First, Brit, Eady, the woman at the center of one of Bravo's messiest moments, she's not taking this laying down. She is firing back. In a bombshell $20 million lawsuit, she's accusing Bravo and production of defamation as well as sexual harassment. Jeez, these are two. She's claiming they intentionally allowed Kenya Moore to air sexually explicit photos that were not even her, everybody, despite knowing the truth. Is the truth that she did suck a little something for a little something? Well, anyway, meanwhile, Kenya herself is in the hot water as well, reportedly evicted from her hair salon and now, allegedly, countersuing her landlord. This isn't just reality TV gone rogue. It's a masterclass in media manipulation, legal power, and brand protection. All right, lawyers, now we got a lot going on in here tonight. Now, I don't know about you algorithms, but did you guys see the episode when Kenya, at the opening of her hair salon, showed those disgusting pictures of Brit Eady performing fellatio on somebody? So this is my question.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
No, it's not alleged. That part's not alleged.
Okay.
All right, that part's not alleged, but we will say allegedly. Now, the pictures that Kenya showed allegedly are not of Brit Eady, we could say. But the Brit Eady video has been all over the net for a long time. All right, let's just be very clear. Let's get down. If anybody want to jump down in the comments and talk about that, you can. But that is not allegedly.
So I think Attorney Carter has been doing some
research on it.
Real zoom in. Gotta make sure it's right to make sure that it's not AI. So I think we start with
Attorney Carter. Anything with nude or something, he gonna do his deep dive. Okay, so let's start with this. Attorney Carter, let's start with this. Now, on a serious note, because we're talking legally now, I just thought when I saw it, I got to tell you, I was devastated. And I said to myself, all right, mute your, because I can hear you typing. Whoever's typing, I can hear you typing. I was devastated, not for Brit Eady, not for Kenya, but I was devastated for Bravo for showing this. So my question here is, Attorney Carter, how strong is Brit Eady's defamation claim given Bravo's alleged prior knowledge? Now, this is what I say to all algorithms that are paying attention. You guys know I was on some of the most captivating reality TV. I was on Basketball Wives Miami when it first started with Evelyn and Jennifer. I was on Real Housewives of Atlanta with Nene. I was on Terrell Owens' reality show. So I know for a fact, Attorney Carter, that everything that you do, right? Everything that they show on the show has to be pre-approved. So tell me, how strong is Brit Eady's defamation claim given Bravo's alleged prior knowledge?
I got a question before he answers. Pre-approved by who, Your Honor?
So this is the deal. The producers have to present what they want to have as an episode to the network.
Okay.
And the network has to sign off on it. And not only do they have to sign off on it, they have to sign off on everything that happened in that network. So if they walk in a restaurant, if they go into a store, if a person films with them that's sitting at the table and their face is shown, the content in which the discussion is, everything has to be signed off. So how strong is Brit Eady's defamation case when Bravo signed off on it?
Well, the fact that they signed off on it, they could have been wrong. And here's where I think Bravo might have messed up. I'm not sure that she has the strongest case, but she has a case. Normally, you know how you've been on reality, so you know better than anybody else. all a reality show is 44 minutes and 16 minutes of commercials, but 44 minutes of people calling each other hoes and liars and cheats, etc. Right?
Right.
And normally the network has no responsibility for that. If, on the other hand, they present both sides. So if, for instance, Kenya had posted those pictures, they showed the pictures, and then they had shown Brit saying, "Hey, that ain't me." You can then it's just he said, she said. They kind of portrayed it.
Remember, counselor, right? When she made the statement about the lawsuit, she claimed this week or last week that she never looked at the picture.
No, that they wouldn't show them to her. She actually asked for them.
Oh, she did.
And there's the weird part about it is
she didn't know until recently that
they weren't her.
Not her. Okay, so keep going.
And that's the thing that's interesting is because I was like, wait a minute. If you knew it wasn't you, or if you knew you hadn't put new pictures somewhere out there, you don't need to see them, right? Because you would know it's not you.
Yeah,
so you know there's some naked pictures out you. You just want to make sure those were your titties on there, right? But you knew somebody's was on, that somebody got a picture of them, all right?
Right.
But that said, that doesn't defeat her claim. The real claim is this: we should clear about defamation. Defamation is making a negative statement about somebody else publicly, all right? In public. The negative statement is that you would be so reckless that you'd have your nude pictures out there. Okay. That is per se defamation, or for black people, Percy. And what Percy means is that it doesn't matter what the circumstances are, you owe that woman some money. Because think about it, in the 21st century, the fact if any of us found out that Brit had nude pictures out there, would we be surprised? Would we be disappointed? Right? I was expecting. I was disappointed I didn't find more. All right.
I was going to say, once you heard, you're searching away, looking for them.
But that's a class of defamation that is so clear that even if you don't lose any money, even if you don't lose any contracts, even if you get a bigger contract, you still owe money for saying that somebody is a hoe, or that they have cooties, or that they are a liar. Yeah, exactly.
Or that they cause.
Explain what that means for the algoriters. Explain. Put it in like regular terms.
So the regular terms is if you say that someone has engaged in sexual misconduct of whatever kind, and you're not right, okay, then they can sue you and have a right to absolutely get money, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions, regardless of whether it hurts your deal. The best example of that is Cardi B, when Tasha K said that she had cooties. All right, or what was it, herpes, whatever it was, right? Cardi B didn't lose any money for that. All right, Cardi B, nobody stopped coming to her concerts, but she still owed that woman $4 million just for saying it. And this is important. It's not that Bravo's in trouble, not because they said it, because Bravo didn't say it. Bravo's getting in trouble for publishing it. So if somebody tells a lie and you repeat that lie and know that it's not true, or at least should know it's not true, you're responsible. That means
hold on. Stop right there. Stop. Hold on. Hold that thought. Now, this is the deal. Like I said before, algoriters jump down in the comments. The video has been circulating for years.
Right.
All right. So is she saying because the picture that they showed during the filming was not her, makes it not true? Because that's the part I'm losing.
It's kind of hard, right? It's like, we got all this other stuff, and what she's saying is, by the way, I don't think we even saw the picture, but they're saying that they insinuated on the show that she had nude pictures.
That's right.
That it was her.
Because they insinuated it was her, but it wasn't her. Is that where she gets?
That's where the defamation claim comes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. I want to go to you, Attorney Turner, real quick, because I want to know you're the Protect Black Women lawyer here on the show. What you think about all this nonsense right here of black women not protecting black women?
I protect all women, but yeah, I mean, I've never been a fan of the catty, petty, let's take down one person to lift up myself kind of thing. That's just not how I roll. I don't need to. I'm pretty fabulous on my own. But the thing I wanted to, because you said I wanted to break down a little bit more of what Attorney Carter was saying for the algoriters in terms of what Percy means. I like Percy. Percy Slade. But yeah, per se, it applies to other areas of the law too. But what it means is automatic. That's what it means. So like instead of having to prove the elements of defamation, there are certain types of allegations that on their own, there's an automatic claim for it. So if you called me a bad lawyer on this show, that's something of opinion. But if you said I engaged in like a crime of dishonesty or something like that in my profession, like, so anything damaging your profession, anything that's saying like you have cooties, I guess cooties is code for other things, all of those kinds of things, though, you don't have to litigate it to know that that would be damaging to my reputation. And so it's per se automatic claim. So that's what that means.
All right, really quickly, I want to say thank you, Jessica Brooks. It's my birthday. Come on, Jessica. It's my birthday. It's my birthday. Anybody else want to throw me some? Anybody else want to throw me some change? I can do some strange things.
So I just want to add on
this weekend.
I want to add on to Percy. There's usually 4 categories that come into the defamation per se. It has to do with criminal conduct, statements injuring your trade or your business, accusations of cooties or some sort of disease, and last but not least, sexual misconduct. Those are the big 4. So if you were to say, Your Honor has cooties, that's it. That's defamation per se right then and there.
Unless he got it.
Yes.
and just to dig in a little bit deeper, it's slander when it is spoken, and it is libel when it is written. So sometimes you'll hear they slandered me or they did this. Slander is spoken, libel is written, and defamation is the whole making somebody bad. And defamation per se is those 4 categories.
All right, Danielle Cameron, I agree with you. Brit, hold on. Danielle Cameron said Brit sound like her contract didn't get renewed, and she's trying to get her coins any way she can. You know what, Danielle Cameron? I got to agree with you. I thought the exact same thing. JP Mills says Housewife was born, so Bravo had to bring some spice. They definitely brought the spice this season, but I think they brought it. They brought the spice, but it just felt like they crossed so many lines in trying to keep that franchise resuscitated. And I think one of those lines that they crossed was allowing Kenya, even whether it was true or false, to put pictures of a castmate performing oral sex on posters and showing it to friends. I promise you that somehow has to be illegal, or if not illegal, cost somebody something, because that's disgusting.
Defamation per se.
And to Attorney Weiss's point, since we were doing the law school examination, the publication at the grand opening is what triggers a defamation per se.
Yep.
Kenya could have been at home watching that on her computer by herself. She would have not violated anything. You have to publish it in order for somebody else to do it. But to get to your point about the Black women thing, now that you had me going deep, I mean, Juneteenth is next week. So I got a rally for my girls. I do have a question in terms of your thing about the approval process for these shows. Would Bravo have endorsed it for Real Housewives of Orange County or of, the
so
Mormons
now you're really bringing it, huh? I got to be honest.
I am just saying the question.
I got to be honest, okay? Now, this is just me. Y'all chew me up if you want to. I'm going to say that Real Housewives of Orange County, or even the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, those women who are on those casts wouldn't do anything this dirty. They do other stuff. They expose their husbands cheating on each other. They expose fraud. I just think that they're just a tad bit
different.
I'm gonna say classier in a different way. I don't think those women. I'm not saying that those women on those shows don't perform oral sex on men and video recorded, but I'm saying those.
On camera, everybody's doing it. That's what she put in the chat.
Let me just say, hypothetically, if I were to look and do a Google, hypothetically, I didn't do that, but hypothetically, if I did and typed in Real Housewives cast nude, I would see Erica Girardi's Tootsie Cat right now, Lisa Rinna. These are all people from Beverly Hills.
You'll see their Tootsie Cat. You'll see their Tootsie Cat, but they're not going to incorporate another person. See, this is my thing, and you guys help jump in here. The deal with me is, does the person who was receiving the oral sex, if you didn't get approved showing them getting oral sex on television, isn't that also a violation?
Yeah.
It
Well,
depends
remember,
if
no,
they were
well,
recognizable,
maybe.
because they may have only seen a part of him that only certain people would have been able to recognize. That was the whole thing with the Michael Jackson case years ago. Remember when he said that they made him drop his pants when they were investigating
Right.
those
And they made
allegations?
him stand. Remember, they made him stand on a chair.
Yes.
Remember, he talked about it. They made him stand on a chair and drop his pants. And
Yeah, but that's because otherwise he'd been dragging all on the ground. But anyway,
Right. They didn't want him touching the floor. So.
All right, Venetia Phillips. Thank you, Venetia Phillips, for the super chat. Keep it coming because I need to buy myself a cocktail tomorrow. All right, Daniel Cameron says, Bravo paints their black talent in different lights because Kenya said the producers gave it to her. I do. I believe that. I know for a fact that the producers probably did all the research and told her, look, if you just want to put this on something and make it happen, you can. All right, let's go really quickly because I do want to talk about what constitutes, right? And whoever wants to jump in here, jump in here. What constitutes sexual harassment in reality TV production? And does this meet that standard? So let me repeat it. What constitutes sexual harassment in reality TV?
In this case, it would be hostile work environment. If you go to a regular job and it's pictures of nude stuff all over the walls and people telling dirty jokes, even if they're not addressed to you, it's a hostile work environment. Same kind of thing here. If you got pictures of people doing, oral and people, next thing you know, you come into work. Imagine you come into work. If you went to a regular job and somebody had posted a picture of you naked on the wall, all right, that's hostile as hell. All right, you're gonna definitely
and that's sexual harassment too.
Yep.
Yes,
definitely.
There are no different standards. That is a myth. As Attorney Carter was indicating, there is the law, the employment law that governs what's sexual harassment, and it applies to every workplace. And what happens is people try to defend on the grounds that there's something special about the workplace. But you see this playing out in the Blake Lively thing, right? Her job required her to kiss and to have intimate scenes with this person, and she said he went too far. So simply because you have signed on to do a job where it might be more fun than writing legal briefs and filing motions doesn't mean that you give up your rights in employment. There could be a porn star who is suing for sexual harassment, but what you have to show, you have to distinguish between what the job you were doing that you signed up for and what was beyond that. So for a porn star, for example, you sign up for the intercourse, but if you're in your trailer getting ready for the scene and your co-star comes in and has his way with you, you didn't sign up for that. That's not the orchestrated part. That's sexual assault. You can sue your employer for it. You can sue them for it. So it gets messier depending on the intimate nature of the job, but you just don't sign your rights away simply because you're in certain environments. Remember, that was the argument that the makeup artist that was suing the sportscaster too. Like we've covered this before on this show, and so algoriters need to know, because as you know, women are taken advantage of in the workplace at a far greater rate than men, and that is true. So don't come for me. They need to understand that simply because they might be flirtatious or they are friends with their coworkers, that doesn't mean that they can't file a claim of sexual harassment.
All right, really quickly, Christine R. said, Jason White, so you can charge me with sexual harassment. Would you do that to me? Ooh.
And here I go turning red. Thank you, Christine R.
Real quickly, let's go on and move over to Kenya Moore's eviction and countersuit help or hurt. Will the countersuit help or hurt credibility in Brit's case? All right, I'm going to let's go to you, Attorney Carter. So Lord, I've been drinking. Let's go to the bailiff. Bailiff, can you show us Kenya's video, please?
I told you guys when I did the first confessionals, I had a dispute with the landlord. The landlord has not given me back my TIA, that's tenant improvement allowance. I was allotted $79,000 some $100 to improve this place.
You built a whole floor.
I built an entire second floor. I have not gotten a penny back from that. So if I'm not paying rent and they're not paying me TIA, we're at an impasse. So something has got to give. So whether that means I'm going to be in here next year, next month, next week, we'll see. So keep trying because I'm just going to climb regardless if I'm here or not. Thank you.
Attorney Carter, that sounds like to me, because what we understand is allegedly she owes over $300,000 in back rent. That sounds like to me that the money ain't flowing right, and you just looking for an out. And a $79,000 out does not match a $300,000 owe.
Agree. And she don't even get the $79,000. So she has a tenant improvement agreement. And what that normally means is this: you go into a place and you say, I want to do some improvements in the place. And here's what we're going to do. And this is a really bad deal. By the way, don't do this. All right. You say to the landlord, says, hey, I'll pay for the tenant improvements. All right. I'll put the drywall up. I'll put this stuff up. I'll put the countertops and all that stuff. And then you pay me back for that. And then I keep paying my rent. However, here's the problem is all those provisions have things that basically say the landlord will reimburse you if they feel like it. Because if you miss a timeline, if you don't use the right color, you don't get the right approvals, you don't use a licensed contract or whatever, they'll say, I'm not paying for that stuff. And here's the problem is, if they don't give you your money back, you're out of all that money and you still owe your rent. You can't offset your rent.
I want to talk about that. I want to talk about that because I'm going to tell you right now, it has happened to me a couple of times. Mm-hmm. So for those who don't know, you guys know I bounce from city to city to city to city, depending on where I'm working. So it's hard to like really find a house to buy. So I end up renting a lot. So I feel that if something's not right and it's not getting fixed, I feel like I should hold my rent until what I paid for is habitable. That's how I feel. But what I have learned, is that's not true. That's not true. Does anybody want to talk about that?
You're 100% accurate. You cannot withhold rent because something wasn't done. In most states, the only way that you might be able to withhold rent is if you don't have heat or water. And water is not in every state. Heat, even here in Florida, is the only way that you can withhold rent. Otherwise, you have to continue to pay. You have to give them notice. And if you want, what you do is you put the money into a court registry. You say to the court that, look, they're not giving me water. They're not giving me this. I got broken windows. I got pests. I got all of this.
How about air conditioning?
No, air conditioning is not part of it. Now you can put
I signed up. I signed up for an apartment that was supposed to have air conditioning.
Correct. And you have to
the hottest day of the year. I'm sweating my balls off. I'm uncomfortable. I'm not staying in that hot box. I'm going to a hotel. You're telling me that they have no responsibility for not providing the air conditioning that they said they had?
30-day notice is what you could do, and you would really have to prove it's uninhabitable. And there are certain things that you need to do, such as move out into a hotel, take your belongings out, call in AC people. There are a lot of things that you need to do in order to show it's not habitable. It can't just be, I'm going to go to a hotel for the night. No, you're out. You're 100% out. And then you first have to sue. So when you sign these leases, you can put in there that they're responsible. I mean, I do it on residential and commercial leases all the time. If the AC isn't fixed within 24 hours, we'll get somebody out there. We're withholding rent. If a landlord agrees to it, you could do it. But short of that, the normal lease is nope. Sorry, you have to continue to pay.
I don't understand that. If we have probable, I ain't gonna say probable cause. We sit here and we signed up for a high rise that's supposed to give you all of these luxury amenities, and you can't get no air, and you're telling me I still have to pay $5+ grand a month, and
Yep.
I don't even have air in that apartment. You're saying it doesn't matter?
Unless you completely
Well,
move out, it's completely uninhabitable. They take it away from you. The fire marshal says you can't be in there. Health inspectors say, yes, you must still pay rent.
I'm upset. All right, Dominic Brooks, we're not beating up on your girl, Kenya. Thank you for the birthday super chat. We're not beating up on her. This is a show. You guys know legally, no one is off limits for us, even if we like them. All right, thank you, fellas. Thank you, attorneys. Okay.
Can I say one quick clarification? Because I think you overlooked something that Attorney Weiss said, which is an important lesson for the alligators, which is when you are negotiating that lease, those things that are important to you, put it in the document. What he's saying is that morality has no place in real estate law. So your assumptions about what you're entitled to and what they should do, that has no bearing. The only thing that governs is
even
what's
if
on
you
the
promoted the apartment as having a luxury apartment that has air conditioning, heat.
You got it
in the lease.
No, and his thing is, you can say, for instance, I didn't have rent. First of all, you couldn't do it for one day. All right. And that's the problem is that they're concerned about people saying, oh, I didn't have this for 2 days. I didn't have for this for 2 days. So I'm going to take off $50 of the rent. I'm going to take off $30 of the mess. All right. But if you didn't have it forever, you can leave. Like Jason said, take everything out, terminate your lease, because you can say, hey, you broke the promise on the lease. I'm not going to pay you anymore. But what you can't do is stay there and then just simply say, you people owe me money.
Wow. This is good to know. Thank you, lawyers, so much. All right, viewers. 2 questions here. Should Bravo be held liable for what cast members revealed? Drop down in the chat. Should Bravo be liable for what cast members revealed? All right, let's keep it going. Oh, this one right here is hot, and I do mean hotter than a hot pocket when you bite into it right when it comes out of the oven. Chris Brown is back in the courtrooms instead of the concert halls. Arrested in Manchester for allegedly smashing a tequila bottle over a music producer's head in a 2023 London club incident, Brown was released for a staggering €5 million bail. Now, let's be clear about this. Everyone's saying, oh, it's not a big deal. But listen, it actually is, because if convicted, he faces up to 16 years in prison. Now, check this out. The alleged victim has filed also a civil lawsuit for €12 million. Now, Brown's history of legal trouble raises serious questions about how many chances celebrities can buy. Now, we were talking about this in chambers, and I need someone to explain it to me. Okay? I want to know, does his U.S. history of violence and in trouble with the law affect his UK charges and his trial? Who wants to take this?
I'll do it.
Okay,
no, it doesn't. He is being charged for something specific that happened on a specific date and a specific time, and that's where the court is going to look. If he struck him in the head with the bottle, if he caused damage, if he did whatever. Look, he is not the most intelligent person in the world. He shouldn't have gone back to the UK because he knew there was a warrant out there and they couldn't touch him until he set foot. He lands, his plane's there, they meet him on the runway, they take him into custody. Now, if Chris Brown was to say, I'm a saint, I've never done anything wrong, I a lawful abiding citizen, I've never been sued, now they can use all of that stuff to impeach him. But you can't go ahead and make a negative inference for things that he's done in the past to hold against him in this instance unless he opens the door. It's kind of like a vampire. They can't come in until you invite them in. Well, if you invite them in by saying that I'm a good guy, I'm a good boy, I don't do anything wrong, boom, you've opened up that door and they're going to hammer him.
All right, Sir Benjamin said, I want Chris to seriously grow up. Me too, guys. Like, what in the world? If I was that rich, that attractive, and had all that love, why would I be beating bottles across people's heads? Why would I be like stealing Tootsie Cat allegedly?
I don't count. I don't count. I don't check your bank account, but you are as good looking as him, Your Honor.
No,
So there you go.
Not to the tone of where
to Attorney Weiss's point, I mean, that picture, he looked like he's aging fast. Like the life is catching up with him. He's not aging like fine wine, like Your Honor.
Bailiff,
over
let's
there
see
looking
that.
good.
Bailiff, let's see that picture of Chris Brown. He is looking. All right, take that off and put me on the main stage. Let me take my glasses off. How am I looking? Let's see.
Much better. Look at that.
Not bad, guys. All right, JP Mills says Chris Brown will never learn. Tanya Kelly said, I want Chris to take his meds.
Now there is, let me give you one caveat to what Attorney Weiss said, because he's absolutely 100% correct. They can't use that to convict him and say, hey, you did those things in the U.S., so therefore you're guilty of this. However, if he is convicted, when you look at when you're trying to do sentencing and you look at prior convictions, the court doesn't have to, but they could look at the U.S. stuff and say, oh, we're not going to treat you like a first-time offender, right? Because the difference is huge here. We're talking about somewhere between like 4 and 16 years. He could get life, but they're not going to get that. But like 4 and 16 years, and how far you come close to 4 and how close you come to 16 could determine if they look back at the Rihanna stuff and some of the other stuff and say, hey,
he has abusive behavior.
Yeah. So there's mitigating and aggravating factors when you go into the sentencing. So the mitigating would be that he volunteers and he does charity work. The aggravating is, look what he did to Rihanna. Look what his things are. So that takes them into it. And that's why a lot of times you'll have like character witnesses come testify before your sentencing. Oh my God, he was the best, choir boy ever. And, and then the state's going to have, oh my God, he stole my dog.
All right, let's ask this question. Now, from what I understand, he is in the UK. He's doing his tour. But this is the scary part. They took his passport. He cannot leave Europe.
Yep.
They are allowing him. Who wants to speak to that? Attorney Carter, tell us, what are the provisions around Chris Brown? This is serious business. Will this I feel like Chris Brown is not going to learn until his money that he pays these lawyers don't get him out of his problem. He's not going to learn until he ends up in jail. What is the deal with his passport being taken, and what does that mean? What is this country of UK saying when they take your passport like that?
Oh no, this is. I don't know if he's going to jail, but I do know that for the next 16 months he's gonna be eating that nasty British food. All right, because he can't leave until the trial is over, and assuming he is acquitted, then he can leave. That's not scheduled until October of next year. All right. They don't even have anything really scheduled. His next arraignment is going to be like October when they do a pretrial thing. It is going to be forever. All right. Before he gets out of there. So he can, with court permission, go to specific dates because he has a tour. So they say, okay, you be in Brussels on this date. Don't you stay a day longer. You come on back.
You got to come back to the UK.
And by the way, in the UK,
can he say, okay, so let me ask you this. Can he say that he has a performance in the United States and they let him go?
Say, but they ain't going to let him out.
No,
remember,
they ain't going to.
They've been trying to get him back for 5 years. They know if he gets back to the U.S., all right, then he won't come back. So they know, Amsterdam will send his ass back. They only got so much weed there, right? So they will eventually send him back, but they know that U.S. might not send him back, so they're not going to let him go anywhere where they're not sure that they're not going to send him back. And he's basically a prisoner now. He's been a nice cell, but he's got a place, the court-appointed, place that he's living. He got to live there. He can't just be like, oh, this weekend I'm going up to Scotland. Oh, no, you're not. All right. He needs permission. You know what it's like? All right. It's like being 6, 8 years old. All right. Before you leave the block, you got to get permission from your mama. Right. You got to make sure that mama knows exactly where you are. And he got to be home when the street lights come on.
All right. Val Rice says he's still a cutie. Al looks very moisturized. Oh, do I? I'm probably over moisturized, baby. I'm trying to keep these wrinkles at bay. Dominic Brooks says that Val Rice, that's that drink that's got him glowing. You right, because I'm feeling good up here tonight. All right, Algorators, the question for you is, should we separate the art from the artist when criminal behavior becomes a pattern? I personally say no. So the question is, should we separate the art from the artist when criminal behavior becomes a pattern? No, I don't think anybody. Now, there is I will say this. The life of celebrity is different than any other life. The pressures are different. The expectations are different. Living on a public stage is different. But I don't know why, but for me, when you participate in criminal activity, that's when everything should be flatlined, and it doesn't matter if you're a celebrity or not. Honestly, a celebrity should not be able to take Tootsie Cat if Tootsie Cat is not supposed to be taken. A celebrity should not be beating people over the head with bottles if you're not supposed to beat people over the head with bottles. As well as celebrities should not be driving, drinking, drunk when you're not supposed to be driving drunk. I understand the pressures of being a celebrity, but I don't think you should ever be above the law.
By the way, we missed one thing here. He's not the only one in jail or being charged with this. He's being charged with his boy, Hoodie Baby. I don't know who Hoodie Baby is, all right? But I do know, guess what? Hoodie Baby's still in jail. He didn't have $6.4 million to put up. Hoodie Baby, all right, is I don't know how to say this, but he's somebody's baby now, all right? And so here's the thing is, you think Hoodie Baby, if you left me in jail, ain't gonna be willing to testify against you? I'd be telling everybody that Chris Brown did it, and his mama did it, and it's like you left me in jail. Oh yeah, they get Chris Brown.
All right, speaking of jail, everybody, guess what? Russell Simmons is taking legal aim at HBO and the creators of On the Record. I don't know if you've seen it. I did have a chance to watch it. He's filing a $20 million defamation lawsuit. He claims the documentary falsely portrayed him, ignoring the polygraphs as well as other evidence. But this isn't just a personal vendetta. It's a legal stress test on the Me Too movement. That's right, because he is definitely caught up in the Me Too movement. It's also a test of how streaming platforms navigate storytelling as well as liability. Now, I need all the answers here, Legal Beagles. I asked you guys in chambers. No one's really giving me an answer. I want to know how in the hell is this guy facing all these charges in the United States? He runs off to Bali, and nobody can get him out of Bali to hold him accountable for what he's being charged for in the United States. So here's the question. Can a public figure like Simmons realistically win a defamation case tied to a freaking documentary?
I'm going to say, go ahead, Attorney Turner. You go first.
It's the same standard as we had said before about defamation. You know, is it a false statement? Was it publicized to third parties? And did it, make him look bad? So yeah, he can. But inherent in your question, right, was what is he doing frolicking and getting a tan on all of his body, including his bussy probably, over in Bali?
Order! Not bussy. Oh my
and not,
Lord.
Well, he's naked on the beach. He's a free spirit. How is he there and not in jail, right? With his buddy Diddy? And the reason is because he had the good sense to recognize his legal issues were looking really bad, and he was likely going to have to face trial, and he might not win. Lesson for all the alligators: the best way to win a lawsuit is to not be in that lawsuit, right? Don't be in court, because if you are the plaintiff, then or you're the defendant, then you run the risk that you might be convicted. And Russell's like, you know what? I've been meditating too much for that. Even if I did bad things before and I'm saying I didn't do them, that was the old Russell. This is the new evolved Russell that hangs out with the Dalai Lama, and not the one who our president wrote the foreword to his book. That's interesting. He wrote a book called Do You, and the foreword was written by our current president. Irony, right? But anyway, Bali is governed by Indonesian law. Indonesia doesn't have an extradition treaty with the U.S. So he went to a country that is not obligated to send his black ass back, and he is over there getting all the sunshine that he wants, and will continue to do that because you know what beats jail? Bali.
Wow.
Everything
Okay,
he
so
said.
let me understand this. Let me understand this really quickly, Attorney Weiss and Turner. Help me with this. Okay, so they did a documentary on him. I don't know if you guys saw it on the record, where all these women just came forward and told what they claim is their story about their experience with him and what he did to them. Is that defamation?
Not if it's true, or because he's a public figure, not if it's not obviously a lie. If it's believable and they don't know any better, now he says, hey, you should not have believed this stuff because I took a polygraph and I told you that I didn't do it. But a polygraph is, how do I say that? That's not a thing. All right. It's not at all reliable. Right. And so they have a good claim. And by the way, his claim is so ridiculous. We got to talk about this because his claim is ridiculous in the sense that you only have a year to bring a defamation case to New York. He brought this in New York 5 years after it happened. All right. Wow. He has almost no chance. There's some technicality, could probably get it reinstated, but not likely. And the question becomes, why? We weren't thinking about you, Russell. Ain't nobody thinking about you. All right. We had R. Kelly since, we got Diddy. You were pretty much, you escaped down the memory hole, right? You stay in Valley, you be fine. And he brings this up now in 2025, right? As if somehow it's going to make it better. He's trying to rehabilitate his reputation, right? Because he wants to be able to come back and, you know, and do Def Comedy Jam 22 or whatever. But it's not going to matter because I don't see how, right, with all these allegations and you just going, I had a polygraph.
So, Jason, before you jump in there, let me ask you this real quick, Jason. Let me ask you this real quick. I don't find this lawsuit smart. Mm-hmm. I find this lawsuit is doing nothing but bringing more attention to your indiscretions.
Yeah. I think he's listening to the Dalai Lama over in Bali, and spiritually, this is what he's doing. What he's trying to say is that the continued distribution of this, if it's airing, it showed again, the 1 year statute of limitations started up again. What he should have done is continued to live his life in Bali, go on, do his thing, and live the next 50 years of his life just enjoying all the fruits of his labor and move on. Because the second he walks into the United States, he's going to have problems.
I think personally, this is what I think. I think the money ain't flowing over there in Bali. I think he's trying to get back to the United States somehow, some way, so that he can get his weight back up. I think things aren't just running out of money, and the things ain't looking cute.
Well,
all right,
I'll tell you this: the Indonesian government.
Yeah, I mean, I understand he probably wants to see his daughter. I'm pretty sure he wants to see his daughter, but I'm sure they can.
Don't let them come to Indonesia.
Right, I'm pretty sure they can go to him.
I'm not talking about a family reunion. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about from his perspective, an HBO publicized something that said he did horrific things to women. And so because he's the father of daughters, he wants to assert some sort of public challenge to it because he wants them to believe he's a good guy. And I think that probably is what clouded, because it doesn't really make sense to Attorney Weiss.
This is the deal. And I will let you know, I have spent quite some time with Russell and Kimura when they were married, vacation with them. I've done it all with them. This is the deal. I say this, great guy, enjoyed his company all the time. However, if it's not one, if it's more than two, if it's more than three, and more than four, that's where I have to say, okay, something in the milk ain't clean. Something in the milk ain't clean. Right? Regardless of how great a person is when you go to dinner with them, regardless of how great the person is when you hang out with them at that house, when you go on vacation with them, something in the milk ain't clean when it's a whole bunch of women coming forward saying that you did something to them. All right, I'm going to leave that right there. Algorithm, this is a question for you. Do you think documentaries should be held to the same standard as journalism? I thought it was. Do you think documentaries should be held to the same standard as journalism? Algorithms jump down in the chat. And the second question, if a person passes a polygraph, does that change your opinion about their guilt or innocence? I know a lot of people believe polygraphs, but legally, What does a polygraph mean in the court of law, Attorney Carter?
Nothing. It has the same legal effect as whoever smelt it dealt it. All right, or calling shotgun. All right, to get the front seat of the car.
Yeah.
You can do all that stuff. You can take a polygraph. It won't matter to anybody. All right. The fact that you smelled it does not mean that you dealt it. Okay. And so you know,
not it. Same thing.
All right, let's keep it moving. Smelted and dealt it is the word of the day. British actor Nigel Adams was arrested on the set of Berkeley Castle during filming of the Disney Plus series Rivals. Oh my God, you've been arrested on Disney after being charged with assaulting his girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend. Released on conditional bail, he must appear in court next month. This case isn't just about what happened in private. It's about what happens when celebrity sets become criminal stages. Now, this is fascinating as hell to me. Celebrity sets become criminal stages. I love that. Okay, so help me understand this, guys. What is a conditional bond?
A conditional bond is that you will post something and it has to do with that you're bonded out unless they find more. Based on what they've seen now, this is what the bond is, but they can revoke the bond if they find more. So it's kind of like a temporary restraining order, a temporary bond. They could either up it or completely remove bond and go get them.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Got it. All right. So got it. I meant to say bail, but I totally understand what you're saying.
Bond and bail are basically the same. A bond is you're actually posting it with a bond person. Bail is, you're going ahead and you're bailing out.
Got it. Attorney Carter, what do on set, because this happened on the set, that's so crazy to me. How do on-set arrests impact productions legally and financially?
Well, financially, that's a big deal, right? You've been on a movie set. I've even been on a movie set, and you know how that works, right? Everything has to be done exactly at 4 o'clock because the light has to be hitting at a 33-degree angle, and the police run through the shot. All right, now we got to shoot that tomorrow, but everybody got to go back to the Marriott, right? Or not anymore, the Four Seasons. It's a problem, right? And Disney definitely doesn't like that, right? Disney, of all people, all right, doesn't want people, all right, the police running through their sets and people being accused of domestic violence. The funny thing about this, though, is I'm going to have to contest or appeal this case on his behalf because that fool ain't no celebrity. He got a day job. He's on the show, but they don't let him talk. All right. He like Rashad. All right. So the point is, he doesn't get
you wrong for that, Rashad. You hear that, baby? Wait, did you hear that? You said you like Sean Carter.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Sean Carter is going to be muted, and his picture is going to be distorted.
Right,
distorted.
And so the point, exactly, right? It won't be hard. But the point is, though, seriously, is like, the fact that, it's interesting because I was curious about that too. I'm like, if this was, for instance, the star of the show or Denzel or Idra, all right, they're not breaking onto the set, all right, to get you. One of the things that this guy and the suspicion is that the reason they came to the set is that's the only place they know where to find him. Yep. Because otherwise he's sleeping on somebody's couch. They can't find him from night to night.
I can't do this with you today.
It's true. It's true.
I'm definitely not sleeping on somebody's couch. Attorney Carter.
Couch.
No.
Attorney Carter, I can't do this with you.
But he's right. Look, there are people that will go to court for a hearing, like a family law hearing, and the police will be waiting either in the courtroom or outside the courtroom to take them in because of a crime that they committed. So when you know where the person is and you're 100% sure they're there, you go in and get them. There's no immunity just because he's filming.
Gotcha. Okay, so what rights
the
does
other thing that people need to understand, Your Honor, because the algoriters might not know this, is that same rule that Attorney Weiss mentioned is also true if they're trying to serve you with a notice of preservation, if they're trying to serve you with a subpoena, if they are trying to serve you with something.
What the hell is a notice of preservation, Attorney Turner?
Oh, a notice of preservation. That gets sued to witnesses if they think they have information relevant to the lawsuit. And so it says hold all your stuff. Yeah, don't delete your phone messages. Don't, do anything to destroy evidence that's relevant to this case.
A notice of
Sometimes
non-spoliation.
Yes, indeed. It depends on the jurisdiction, what you call it. But yeah, anytime they need to present the paper and to serve you, they can serve you at work. If you always go down to the bodega to get Lucy's at 3:00 and they know that
sounds
they
like
could
me.
be waiting in the bodega. Yeah, they can serve you at your home, right? If you're having an affair with we won't say these men's wives, but with somebody's wife, and they could serve you there. So people are under the misconception that somehow they are protected when they're out in these streets or at work. And the truth is you are not.
All right. You heard it right here, everybody. You are not. So here's the question for our algorithms. Would you still watch a show? Let me repeat. Would you still watch a show knowing an actor on it was arrested for domestic violence? That's a good one. Would you still watch a show? It's so interesting because people still listen to R. Kelly. People are still listening to P. Diddy. So, hey, that's a very good question. Would you still watch a show knowing an actor on it was arrested for domestic violence? All right, as we rotate into our last case of the evening, I need your help. First of all, it's my birthday. Send a super chats if you wish. It'll help me pay for my cocktails tomorrow. But I also would like for you to please hit that like button. Also, please hit the subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, please be sure to hit the share button. Invite your friends over to learn about the law on the back of these celebrities who continuously break the law. Don't forget to turn on your notifications. And as always, we love seeing you get busy in the chat. Next up, Drake. Yep, good old Drake. He's in hot legal waters again. This time accused by Samuel Nicholas of sampling without permission in his chart toppers, In My Feelings, as well as Nice for That. As streaming reshapes the music industry, lawsuits like this raise new stakes around artist rights and the fine line between homage and theft. I love this, homage and theft. And I think, was it Jason or Carter who is going to tell us what determines fair use in sampling and where might Drake have gone wrong? Was that you, Attorney Weiss or Carter? So tell me, what was that rule again? Because I found that very fascinating.
So it's actually called the Beastie Boys rule, and it came out in, I want to say, 1989-ish. It was their Paul Revere album, and there was a song, and they sampled a portion of it in there. And the court said, basically, from that ruling, any sample, no matter how short or long or altered, must be cleared with the person or cleared with the group that actually did it first.
Okay.
And basically the test, they used to have this 7-second rule that if you stayed under 7 seconds, it was okay. The new test is if you listen and you can say, oh my God, that is so-and-so's, that is considered not allowed. Now,
so when you say listen,
rights,
hold on, when you say listen, because this is where we got into the discrepancy in chambers. When you say listen, do you mean like within the first 30 seconds?
No, I say if
first
you
10
hear
seconds,
if you hear 10 notes of the song and you're like, oh my God, that's so and so, and they sampled that's good enough.
Okay.
But you're not allowed to use. Basically, the rule is this: you cannot use someone else's music in your music without their permission. Same thing with a picture on the internet, right? You go on the internet and you find this great picture and you decide you're going to put it on your website to promote yourself. Nope, not allowed. It's not the Google or the internet, exception. There's no such thing. So you need permission in order to use it. You buy the licensing, you give a point on royalties, whatever it is, use it.
Okay, so where did Drake go wrong?
By grabbing some beats and some lyrics that sounds like what this producer and this writer is saying was his. And all a jury is going to do is listen to Drake's, listen to his, and they're going to say, yeah, he stole that, or nope, not even close.
All right, love it. All right, viewers. All right, algorithm.
I was just going to say, there was that recent case, so I guess it's probably like 5-6 years ago now, with Robin Thicke and Pharrell and the Marvin Gaye estate for Blurred Lines. And so the original artists are really becoming more invested in protecting their rights in a way that they weren't before. And so for any algoritors who are out there who are, aspiring hip hop artists or other artists, you need to make sure you get permission from whoever's songs you're sampling. And speaking of hip hop artists, I forgot to say this before, but my brother's birthday is also tomorrow. I knew I loved Al from Go. And yeah, my brother's a hip hop artist. His Fly Revolutionary Hustler, you can find him at frhmarket.com. But yeah, it is Gemini season, and
Let's
Al and FRH.
Let's go. I know he's a good guy. I don't even have to ask no questions. Really quickly for the algorithms, what's up, Shatan's brother, fellow Gemini, also born, tomorrow is Friday the 13th. I was born on Friday the 13th. It's going to be epic.
So was he.
Congratulations. All right, algorithms, really quickly, do you think artists should be sued years after a song becomes a hit? That's a good question. Do you think artists should be sued years after a song becomes a hit?
And to add in, all you aspiring artists, when you make stuff, copyright your material so that you can claim damages and you can go after it. So spend the $150 or $180 and get a copyright.
You know what? Order in my court. It's always those white lawyers that tell you to do that. We broke, boy. We ain't got time to copyright stuff.
You could do it yourself for $45 or $50.
All right, contact Jason Weiss, because he's going to teach you all the shit you didn't learn in law school right here on Celebrity Court. All right, everybody, this is the part of the show that we go back over the cases and decide who's guilty and not guilty for the crimes that they've committed. First up, we have Brit, Eady. Is Bravo guilty or not guilty of defamation? Attorney Carter, what say you?
He's on mute. He pissed off Rashad.
You're on mute.
Sorry about that. I'm going to first need to see the pictures, all right, to make sure I can compare the two to see, and then I will have to give you my...
Order in my court. Guilty or not guilty?
They're not guilty.
All right, Bravo's not guilty. Attorney Turner? All right, she's frozen. Attorney Weiss?
Oh, I was going to say we could hear her.
She's freezing. She's going to slow motion. Attorney Weiss?
I think Bravo is guilty of doing this so that they can get viewership up and they don't care about the money.
All right, I agree. I'm Al and I'm the judge here. We're going to find Bravo guilty. Guilty because you knew what it was. You just needed to save your job. You needed to save this franchise in Atlanta because you were insistent on getting the ratings up, but you went too far. All right, next up is Kenya Moore, guilty or not guilty of paying her rent. Attorney Carter, what say you?
You got to pay your rent. You also got to get a cheaper place, girl. $300,000 is a whole lot of weaves, girl. That's too many weaves. All right, you're going to get a cheaper rent.
All right, let's go, Attorney Turner.
She's guilty of apparently bad management of her salon because they've said it's been empty for a long time, and guilty of not paying her rent, and guilty about not having a good lease that reflected what she needed. But I hope she bounces back. I like her spunk.
All right, Attorney Weiss.
She's guilty of not having it open enough, right? It's by appointment only, and so guilty. I don't want to steal your thunder, Your Honor.
Here in Celebrity Court, we're going to find Kenya Moore guilty. Baby, we know what it is. That Bravo chick not coming in like it used to. And you ain't got no clients after they saw how nasty you were. All right, let's keep it moving. Next up, we got Chris Brown. Is he guilty or not guilty of smashing that man in the head with a tequila bottle? All right, Attorney Carter, what say you?
Supposedly, they got a video. I looked for it, but they said they got a video. He's definitely guilty of leaving Hoodie Baby in jail while he running around having fish and chips. I know that.
Attorney Turner?
He's guilty.
Attorney Weiss?
he's guilty of thinking he's above the law by going back there. So he's guilty of being dumb.
All right, I'm Al, and I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court. We're going to find Chris Brown exactly guilty of thinking that you're above the law, and you cannot be that crazy to think that they forgot all that legal notices that you got from that country to your lawyer before you went over there, and you took your ass over there anyway. You are guilty, and you should be in jail. Like my
Ray Charles. Like that's Ray Charles' story. He was on a plane. He got off the plane. They were waiting for him.
Right. All right. Next up, we have Russell Simmons and HBO. Is HBO guilty of defamation? Attorney Carter, what say you?
No, not likely. They would have to. He has to prove that they not only that he didn't do this stuff, right? Which I don't know how he's going to prove that, but also they knew that Snoopy wouldn't do that. And look at Snoopy; he could do that.
I agree, Attorney Turner.
Yeah, I appreciate him trying to prove to people that he's a changed person, but there's just too much smoke here. I don't think he's going to prevail.
I don't think he's changed at all. Okay, Attorney Weiss.
He's guilty of being a moron. He's in Bali living up the life. Shut up and enjoy your time, dude. I'm going to Bali. That's it. I don't have any money, but I'm going to go to Bali. So guilty.
All right, I'm the judge here. We're going to find HBO not guilty because those ladies came forward with their stories. It's a documentary. They are sharing the thoughts and feelings of those who were profiled. All right, there's a difference. Next up, we have, Drake. Damn it, Drake. Is Drake guilty or not guilty of copyright? Attorney Turner, what say you?
I love Drake, so he's not guilty of anything except for being too fine.
All right, we got her, even though she's frozen. All right, Attorney Carter.
Not only is he guilty, every rapper's guilty. I don't know how you make rap when nobody can know how to play an instrument without sampling something. All right, all that stuff is sampled. All right, they all need to give that money back.
Carter, you're a hater. All right,
it's true. They can't even play the recorder. They can't even play the recorder. They don't know how to play no instruments.
I want to hear 7 seconds of the song, and then I'll tell you he's guilty.
All right, I'm Al, and I'm the judge here, and we're going to find Drake guilty of paying all those lawyers, all those people at the record label, all that money, and you still can't stay out of sampling trouble. That's ridiculous to me. Everything that you do, because you are one of the hottest artists on the earth, should be approved before you take it to the charts, period. Guilty for not doing
I think the song went something like, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Your Honor. Happy birthday to you.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Tonight wasn't just about celebrity scandals. It was about the deeper, more uncomfortable truths behind the headlines. What happens when our icons become defendants? When networks become enablers? When justice is shaped by influence, ratings, or a viral moment? We're living in a time where fame offers both a shield, but guess what? It also offers a sword. And it's up to us as viewers, citizens, and critical thinkers to question who holds the power and how they wield it. As I celebrate another trip around the sun, I can't help but to think about legacy. Not the kind built on followers or fame, but the kind built on accountability. On platforms like this, we have the chance to redefine entertainment as more than just escape. We can use it to educate, provoke, and elevate. And that's exactly what I try to do every show that I have here on my YouTube channel. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for asking the hard questions and also for showing up. Until next time, court is adjourned, but the conversation continues.